What is going on, everybody? It's a Link Up podcast with your boy Derz and Efrum, and Champions League's group is over. Now we're going into the knockout stages. Is Arsenal going to take it? Is Bayern going to take it? What happened to Real Madrid? All of this and more here on the Link Up. Efrum, what are we saying? How do you feel about
What's
this?
good, gang? What's going on? It's your boy Efrum and Derz. Yeah, pretty much Champions League just happened. Come hang out with us. Come talk a bit. We're just gonna go chat about what's going on in the Champions League because we had quite the turn of events. Uh, Big ups on the Madrid one. They were top four going into this last game. Now they're number 9, so that means they got a playoff against a team that just knocked them out of the top 8. So that's going to be a good one. Arsenal looks comfortable up top. Bayern, Liverpool. Um, yeah, a lot of good games. There's a lot where um, the expected happened, but I think the main talk of the show would have to be what happened to Madrid. And what is it more of you got to give props to Benfica, or is there a problem in Madrid? Because man, I mean, how do you go out by losing by getting scored on by the goalkeeper? That's one hell of a story. To be fair, Real Madrid had 2 reds. I don't know what Rodrigo was doing. Asensio, like bro, like I'm sorry, bro, but Asensio is so trash, man. He's so garbage. And that second yellow, it just looked out of frustration. There was still time. It was like minute 85. He's running down the line. The guy just pushes it forward. I feel like he could have just kept running, but he was lazy and went for the tackle. Super late tackle. He's out. That's not really a player you want on your team or playing center back. I think it was ass. Rodrigo, he was hot in the heat of the moment, didn't get his way. Or Mbappe, someone didn't get their way. He got mad for him. And then boom. I mean, it was already lost game. Shout out to Benfica for getting that goalie header. I mean, they're trying to be like Liverpool, but hey, for all the to all their power, because that was pretty entertaining. Not gonna lie, even I was like, did this just really happen right now? Did the goalie just score the goal they needed to score? And it looked like they didn't even know they had to score until that moment. So what a crazy game. You as a Madrid fan, what do you have to say to your respective team? Was it a issue with on Madrid side? Is it that there's no manager? Sure, they've got rid of Xabi Alonso. Is that the issue, or did Benfica and Mourinho just have a master class?
Well, for me, we have to give Benfica their flowers because I think we mentioned it the first episode on Champions League this season, where they actually lost to Karabakh after being ahead 2-0, I want to say, and they lost 3-2. Now going into the last game of the Champions League groups, they beat Real Madrid 4-2 in a super intense game. I think from the neutral perspective, it was an amazing game. Started off losing, ended up winning. Again, these red cards, I think it's just emotional reactions from the players. Asensio gets his from a double yellow from going into a tackle, which I think that, like you said, he shouldn't have gone in so abruptly. I think those are just signs of emotions and just trying to be quick and just trying to get the ball as soon as possible. But it lacks maybe some experience. It lacks some sort of composure. Rodrigo, again, frustration. He goes and it's not even for a foul or anything. It's just from him, talking back to the ref. So I think 2 very emotional red cards, very um, just kind of moments in the heat of the game. You don't realize what you're doing. You're frustrated because you're getting knocked out of the Champions League, which not knocked out per se, but having to go into the wild card. If you look at the table, if Real Madrid wins this game, they actually leapfrog. They were going to finish in 3rd place. That's how tight the situation was. They lose to Benfica. Now they have a game against Benfica to qualify for the actual playoffs, and I think this is where you would you would you would probably bet that Real Madrid goes through, but who knows, right? Um, there's something that's
Real
going
Madrid will
on
not get
where
third place.
They would have gotten third place because they have
Oh,
15 points. They win, they get 18 points. Their goal difference, they lost by two, which means their goal difference, if a tie would have been
that,
11 plus 11. If they win, they would have had plus 12. So I'm assuming a win by more than two, they would have jumped Liverpool. Unless they have the head-to-head rule, which Liverpool beat Real Madrid during the regular phase, and Liverpool would have stayed ahead of them.
nah, it's not that.
Um,
It would have been down to goals scored. So if you guys would have won 1-0, you guys scored two that game, right?
it was 4-2.
Yeah, you guys scored two. If you guys would have won 1-0, you guys would have been at 19. We're at 20. So we would have been above you guys. So either way, a lot of if a lot of ish wishy washy stuff. But yeah, they most likely would have been in third. But the fact that we won 6-0 really boosted our goal differential. But it don't matter now. They're sitting at ninth. Go on.
So yeah, exactly. I mean, you look at their form the last 5 games in the Champions League: 3 losses, 2 wins. It's very shaky. They had that big game against Monaco, and you would have thought, okay, things are looking better. But no, I mean, they lost to Man City, they lost to Liverpool, they lost to Benfica, and these last couple games, Real Madrid just doesn't look like themselves anymore. And it's becoming a bigger issue where it's um, how far are they going to fall before they realize things need to get things need to change. I thought this summer was that moment where they hit sort of rock bottom and they decided to go with Xabi Alonso, but you know they're going back on what they kind of did and decided to let go of Xabi Alonso, and now I think they're getting deeper into this sort of ego power trip where they think that they're better than everybody else, and it doesn't matter who's their coach. They're just supposed to be better, right? I think if you just look at Real Madrid's squad, um, Mbappe has 21 goals. The next person closest to him in goals is Vinicius with 5 goals. Um, it just kind of seems like it's Mbappe against the world at the moment. We saw it against Benfica. He got the 2 goals for Real Madrid, nothing else. Real Madrid is in real deep issues, I think, and if they don't wake up to the reality, it's only going to go further and further down from here. Me personally, I think that they could beat Benfica in the Champions League for the playoff match, but it's definitely not going to be an easy game. But you would hope that they would at least be able to get this result. I mean, other games were really good. I mean, Bodo Glimt. I think the way Bodo Glimt finished this Champions League era was nearly really good. I mean, they beat Man City 3-1, and then they beat Atletico Madrid 2-1 to get themselves into that playoff. And now they have a game against Inter, which is going to be very difficult. But I mean, that's very very cool to see a team like Bodo Glimt kind of get those results into getting themselves into the Champions League. I think the biggest disappointment for me has been Napoli.
That's what I want to talk about.
Yeah,
That's
Napoli.
what
I
I
feel
want to talk
like
about.
without De Bruyne, I mean maybe, but come on, guys, you guys just won the Serie A. You guys should have been doing better. I think they have the squad to be definitely into that second group. But I don't know. How do you? What topics did you want to talk about for them?
Yeah, it was just a big matchup going into this game. Chelsea had top 8 to play for. Napoli had relegation to play for, essentially. Um, both teams wanted to win. Obviously, Chelsea wants to be instant qualification. Napoli needed a win, or they were going to be disqualified. So, coming from the big Italian giants, the player of the Italian year, um, Scott McTominay, it's just poor. It's just real poor. I mean, what was even who were they playing and not beating? Because like, how do you get kicked out? How do you not get promoted? You finished 30th out of 36. You're supposed to be the giant. Um, to be fair, no Italian team finished in the top 8, so maybe we're just seeing a loss of skill in the Italian league. But it's not good enough. It's not good enough for Napoli. I wonder what changes they'll make there. I mean, not having Kevin De Bruyne could be a bummer, but that's a player that you brought in. He's older. You can't expect him to play every game anyway. You can't just blame everything on him. you still won the league. You got to have a team, and come on, you got to finish at least top 24. Like, come on now. Big ups to Chelsea and Joe Pedro. They Chelsea scored a banger, Joao Pedro scored a banger, and they fought their war and they didn't let Napoli have it. I mean, I think going into that game, Napoli needed it more. They should have fought more, not let those goals go in, and it's just quite disappointing to see Napoli out. To be fair, so I mean, it is what it is. Chelsea got their spot; they won. We're not going to see Napoli, so at the end of the day, it is what it is. But yeah, I think that was definitely one to look out for. Another one to look out for was going to be PSG Newcastle, and just because you have PSG giant France playing Newcastle, who it's no easy team. Um, it's never going to be easy against Newcastle, but Newcastle isn't top of the Premier League. You'd expect PSG um, to scrape a win, but Newcastle fought hard. Both of these teams needed a win to qualify top eight. They tied, so they ended up both missing out, unfortunately. Um, it was quite the game. It was quite the game. I'm just worried for PSG if they're gonna. I mean, this is what they did last time. I think they finished a lot lower, and then they just came back in playoff and just absolutely won it. So I don't know if they're gonna be a team like that, like the Chiefs are in football. Obviously not this season, but do they wait to the playoffs to get good when it really matters? They already know they're probably going to win the French league anyways. They could be looking like they're slipping off, and then come playoffs, all right, it's go time, baby. I don't know. I don't know. Enrique's a beast of a manager. Newcastle, shout out to them though. 1-1 against the reigning champs. Uh, but yeah, that was a good game. I don't know what else you'd like to say. Banger by Vitinha. Vitinha's world class. He's going to be the reason why Portugal won the World Cup. But yeah, that's they both qualified. Now they got to play some other teams to keep qualifying. So we'll see what's good with that. Anything about those two games you want to mention, There's?
Yeah, I mean, we saw it last season too with PSG, where they kind of leave everything kind of for like the last second because they have that privilege that their league is kind of a little bit easier for them, that they could kind of let everything go and kind of go for the Champions League towards the end of the season. So maybe they're doing that again. I don't. They did have a lot of injuries come the beginning of the season, which I feel like influenced why they finished in certain. Well, I guess in the playoff match in 11th. But I think overall PSG has been a little bit underwhelming. But again, like I mentioned, they did the same thing last season. Maybe Luis Enrique has this 2020 vision that none of us are seeing, and he has an exact plan for what he's going to do come this second half of the Champions League, come really the real important matches that they're going to have in this Champions League. So they have Monaco in this playoff match. I have no doubt that they're going to be able to beat them. They're a team within their own league. They know how they play. They know everything about them. Very, very easy, I think, in the terms of PSG being able to beat them. Um, but yeah, overall, I think Champions League this last match week. I mean, I gotta be honest. Like this probably was the best that we've seen in the Champions League. The beginning was a little bit shaky, but this last match, especially having everybody play at the same time, it made it super interesting. You're flipping between games. When Sporting scored that goal, that opened up the opportunity for Benfica to get into that top into that playoff area. You could just go back to the Real Madrid game, and then you hear the fans realizing that they just scored. It was super entertaining. Great stuff, I think. But overall, this Champions League, I think it's going to be a good Champions League run. Do you want to talk about favorites come for the
Yeah,
knockouts?
I think we should talk about predictions. Predictions. So real quick, so Arsenal finished undefeated. Actually, perfect record 8-0-0. Then Bayern Munich, Liverpool, Spurs somehow crept in there. You have five Premier League teams in the top eight, which is Newcastle missing out. Um, you have Sporting, interesting. Amorim's old team. Barca, Bayern, and that's it. So clearly, those Prem teams are the best in the world, or the league is. But like I said, it all comes down to the playoffs. Arsenal with the best record, Bayern looking good, Liverpool a little shaky, but for some reason in the Champions League they turned it up. Um, Spurs, this might be Spurs' year. What if they get relegated from the Prem and they win the Champions League? Does it cancel out? That'd be funny. But Sporting City, yeah. As far as predictions go, we have to wait to see who makes it from the playoffs. Just because there are some good contenders there, you just never know, especially after last season. But I mean, I don't know, man. I kind of want. Obviously, I'm gonna be biased and pick uh, Liverpool, but I won't. I won't go into that. Um, I think Barca's gonna have a good year, at least semis. I think Barca, Liverpool, Bayern, and Arsenal are gonna be my semifinal contenders, and then from that point on, we're just gonna have to win this greatness because I can't decide who, but um, that's four out of the top five. So I mean, yeah, that speaks for itself. They're up there for a reason because they're top quality teams. Um, but it's the Champions League and it's soccer. I like that there's home and away instead of just one match for playoffs. That's very interesting. That's good thing. We're gonna have more games, home and away, so it's getting into the juicy fruit. It's getting into that gravy. Real Madrid against Benfica. I think in the span of two games, Real Madrid's should handle. But yeah, besides the playoffs, PSG, Inter, Newcastle, Juventus, Atletico Madrid should within two games win their respective games. But yeah, I mean, I think Chelsea could be a surprise. They'll lose to like Brighton, but they're gonna give it their all against like Barcelona or something like that. So you just never know. And I think right now Liverpool's doing not too bad. We won 6-0, but it was Karabag. Uh, Arsenal can't seem to score open play goals. To be fair, they played the last place team, so I'm not gonna give them credit. And they almost choked it. So Arsenal could be in a little mini crisis. Who knows? Bayern Munich just keeps scoring. But they did lose to Arsenal, and Arsenal did humble them and maybe expose them. So uh, who knows there? So yeah, I'm a mixed in emotions, but I'm gonna stick with those top four. I think who are gonna be top four. What about you?
I mean, top favorites. I think you can't ignore Arsenal and Bayern just because they finished so high. To be honest, I've been saying it for a while. Arsenal cannot score from open play, and that's a huge issue. I don't see them. They haven't done any business so far in the January transfer window, and I think earlier in the transfer window, when it first opened up, Mikel Arteta kind of mentioned that he did expect some sort of transfer business going on. Nothing's happened. We still have today is January 30th, so we still have today and tomorrow to see if they maybe get some last minute deals. It's kind of unlikely because I haven't even heard of any rumors or anything. I think where they really need to figure things out is figuring out how to use Jokeres to your best ability. I think Jokeres maybe probably wasn't the best option for them, especially spending 90 million on somebody like that.
They got
Just
Havertz
because
back.
his historically, yeah, Havertz and
He's
Gabriel
back.
Jesus kind of tuck into that midfield and they help that midfield kind of grow, and then they play out to the wings, and then by the time the striker catches up to the wingers, um, play's been developed enough to involve the striker into the play. And Jokeris is kind of stay put, kind of crash the defenders, and hope to like just swing a ball somewhere. But I feel like it's not really working for them, and I think that's the reason why they're not getting that much goals. Bayern Munich, I think, is incredibly good. but because they finished first and second, the only way we could see them play is in the final. So that's going to be interesting. Barca and Chelsea, they're on opposite sides of the thing on the bracket, and it looks like they're either going to play PSG or Newcastle, just depending on the draw. And imagine PSG Barca into that first game. I think it would be good to see Barca get out of there and PSG continue their run. Um,
That'd be
but yeah,
hilarious, bro.
my
Oh my god, I want to see that.
it's kind of hard to not say Arsenal versus Bayern, just because if you look at their route to the final, it's relatively set up for them. I would say. Just depends on what kind of PSG we see come the second half of the season. But if PSG doesn't show up the way that they showed up last season, I think it's Arsenal Bayern in the final. To be honest,
Arsenal Bayern in the final. I mean, yeah, you can't go wrong with that. Fit first and second. Um, I mean, last year none of the first and second teams made it to the final. So, who did PSG play against? Inter.
in the final, yeah, it was Inter, and I think Inter did finish either second or third.
I think they were. Was Barca second or? Let me see.
Mm, I know the table last year was
Yeah,
Liverpool
Barca. Inter
first,
finished fourth.
Barca, Arsenal, Inter.
So, since Liverpool finished fourth, they're for sure making it in the final. And then swap PSG and Liverpool for first and that, and then yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. So you're telling me because we finished third, there's no way for us to face Arsenal in the final, huh?
Liverpool?
We'd face him either quarter or semis.
Yeah, I mean, it could happen in the final. It's just it
Up to
depends
the
on the
draw.
draw, right? If I don't know if you have it open, but right now, Tottenham and
Yeah, you could
Liverpool
see
are going to be decided
either
between the winner
Atletico
of
or Juve.
Galatasaray. I mean, yeah, you could say Atletico Juve, and then it's going to be split. And if they get split on opposite sides of the bracket, then they're only going to play in the final. If they get on the same side, if they keep on winning, they're eventually going to see themselves by quarterfinals, semifinal.
Yeah, that's when they do the draw. I
Well, I
feel
guess if they are to play each other, it would be in the final or in the semifinal, just based on the bracket.
okay. Fair enough. Um, but yeah, that's I feel like we're entering right in the good area. Playoffs are done. I used to Man, the playoffs used to be so dreadful. Like previous Champions Leagues, I swear nobody would watch them, bro. And it was because you would have four teams in a table facing each other twice. There would sometimes be a team who was already first, guaranteed first. So their last game or two last games, they would just play bench. Um, and it just would make it boring, you know. On with this new format, every game matters. I mean, look at Madrid; they were fourth, and they got snubbed out of the top 8, you know? So you can never just let go of the gas, which is and you play 7 different teams versus the same 3. So very entertaining stuff. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this playoff round. When's it start, do you know?
It starts mid-February. February 17th is when the first leg's gonna start.
First leg, okay. But yeah, I mean, we're looking good. I don't know what else you want to go over.
No, I mean just mostly the Champions League. I think that it's gonna be an interesting run. For the most part, you would expect certain teams to kind of go through, like the obvious ones, like we mentioned, Atletico Madrid, Juve, Real Madrid, PSG, Newcastle. Those teams, Inter Milan, all those teams kind of expected to go through. But it's the Champions League, so anything could really happen. We'll be here to talk about it come February 17th, and hopefully with some good news from Madrid.
Or bad. Or good
Part of me
news for
wants it to be
Liverpool.
bad. Part of me wants it to be bad just so that they realize we messed up and something needs to be changed. But we're here for all of that.
Yes, we are. So I don't think you mentioned besides Arsenal and Bayern who you would think would make it that third and fourth, that
That third and
semi-final.
fourth, I mean, it's kind of hard to
I think
say exactly
yeah,
because of the
that's a
draw.
harder one to say, you know. So that's why I kind of want to see your opinion on that.
It it's too much up to the draw. But if I were to put my money on four teams, let's just say four teams, I I really hope PSG shows up the second half of the season like they did the season before. And then it's kind of hard to argue against the Premier League teams. My money would be probably more on Man City than Liverpool, just because I've seen them a little bit more consistent in the league compared to Liverpool. But uh, but it's the Champions League; anything can happen, and I would love to see like a PSV in there. But who knows?
Chivas gets thrown in there just for a celebrity. But
Yeah, just celebrity shot.
yeah, well, okay, interesting choices. Yeah, PSG is one to not ever rule out, so we'll see what's good with that. But yeah, that has been the time here with the link up with Efrum and Derz. Champions League group phases complete, onto playoff round. So yeah, we would love to hear what you guys think of the whole situation. Give us your predictions, who you got this year, and we'll keep the videos coming. You know, if you enjoyed any of this, feel free to give us a like and subscribe for more. So again, this has been the link up with Ephraim and Durs, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.